Wanna hear a joke?
Sakince
Yeah,
sesiniz
sure.
arkada videoya gelirken video çekeceğim. Hadi bakayım. Siz konuşmaya devam edin.
Bence bizi susturabilirsin.
Yok. Gerek yok.
Bari Choice Chamber oyna.
O ne lan?
Choice Chamber oyunu aynen. Bende var. Şey yapalım. Kütüphane paylaşmayı.
O ne? Hiçbir fikrim yok. Aa dur telefon çalıyor.
Abi gerçek hayatta çalıyor sandım. Ben gideceğim sandım.
Parti yapıyor lan şurada.
Ben ya. Arkadaşlar siz yaklaşan fırtına mısınız?
Should we play? Is this toy safe? Oo. Ben bunu oynatırım. Merak ettim. Should be played. Bunu da oynat. Bu ne? Bunu da oynat. Tamam.
Right, you can see they finally got the old headline system up and working again, and the vision mixer's already in headline mode because headlines always come at the start. So at the bottom of the vision mixer, you can see they now have A and B on them, and then
Bak şu bilim adamlarının dışına.
on the left on screen
Adamın içine
here,
bak.
or image B.
Oyun sesini arttıralım.
Ritmi açık mı sende?
On the right bottom screen here.
Evet, çok güzel müzik.
It's really simple. This little clock here will count down the number of seconds you have to make your decision. Provided you make a decision in that time, you're fine. And you can change your mind as much as you want until the clock reaches zero. But if you don't make any decision, you'll be fired before you even get to make another choice. I
35
just want
saniye
to say one more thing.
yayına mı?
The
Falan
pictures
filan.
you choose to show of these people, well, that's how the public is going to perceive them, and that's going to affect their lives. So, like with the adverts, choose carefully.
Oyun bende mi donuyor sadece?
Oyun mu? Benim bilgisayarımda olmuyor.
Benim yayında da olmuyor.
Is this challenge you think
Tamam,
dogs
ben de
have their own secret language?
Yeah, the one that mistrusts the moon.
10 seconds, everybody.
What the best source of consumer advice then?
Don't blame me when it explodes. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Dawson. Our main headlines
Oyunun
tonight.
sesini duymamızın bir yolu var mı?
Destination unknown. At the end of Advance's first full week in office, we ask exactly who's leading
Ya
this
bir de
challenge.
açsana aynı.
Tonight,
de yok,
I'll be
bize
discussing
para
what the
mı?
new future might hold with a leading economist and radical free thinker. With the country's wealth creators in a state of panic and unfavorable rumblings already heard from overseas,
yaptırıyor burada,
I'll be
mantıklı.
asking Mike.
Buna hemen
Ama
geliyorum.
size oyuna sesinin gelmesini nasıl sağlayabilirim? Bu oyun var mı Discord'da? Varmış. Hemen not for broadcast.
Hemen giriyorum.
Umarım video çekmez. Şu an sesi geliyor mu?
Yes, whether Advance can deliver on even a fraction
Geliyor mu?
Geliyor.
Hı, tamam.
of their manifesto promises. Out with the old, Remington's Fist have appointed Sophia Remington as their new CEO. The following photo, taken from our archive, gives us a sense of this influential young firebrand, at the tender age of 23, becomes the youngest female CEO in history. Sophia Remington has always impressed. She was top of her class at university and
Acaba bu
graduated with the
seçtiğiniz
highest
fotoğraflara göre
honors,
oyunun sonu
immediately
değişiyor mu?
being asked back to lecture. The markets have responded
Olabilir, neden
favorably
olmaz?
to Sophia's appointment, with stocks rising 30 points in light of the announcement.
Rütük Simulator'da oyunun sonunu nasıl değiştirebilirsin?
Sophia announced that
Ya bu oyun şey yani o tarz bir şey olduğunu düşünüyorum ben. Yoksa bu oyunun başka bir olayı yok. Yani mama şey yapıyor ama yani muhtemelen bir sonuç değişimi var.
Intrepid scientist Dr. David Moore and marine biologist Ingrid Swansborg
Farklılık yapacağım. Şerefsizlik.
The recently discovered cave system was previously thought unreachable, but thanks to a new breakthrough in underwater flower technology, the pair hope to successfully
Ne bu,
reach
iki tane
the
kayıt falan mı
imposing
var?
central cavern.
Şey var, iki tane fotoğraftan birini seçtiriyor. Bir iyi fotoğraf var, bir de kötü fotoğraf. Ben şu an kötü fotoğrafı
Two
seçtim.
scientists who've shared a fractious rival
İkisinden birisini seçiyorsun.
decided to undertake this expedition in each other's company. However, the two have released a joint statement in which they opine
Kötüsünü seçeceğim bundan sonra. Bakalım ne olacak.
to achieve remarkable
İkisinde de bir fark göremiyorum ben ama.
playing the
Şurada bekle, birazdan
Rumors
göreceksin.
about
Şuradaki fotoğrafları
the
gösterecek
sporting
sana.
legend Johnny
Bak.
Hamsleeves is snapped
Ha,
Adam kusuyor,
İyi seç
kızla beraber. Kötüyü seçeceğim.
Bence
The footballer was
niye
caught
kötüydü?
while out celebrating
Devlete karşı
being named
duruyorum şu an.
Sports Personality of the Year last week, as reported by this very program. And judging from the angle and velocity of that spray, it looks like Johnny may have been celebrating a little bit too much. I certainly wouldn't want to be his dry cleaner. And grievous bodily charm. With advance promising a radical new position on
Like
crime,
celebration.
how afraid should we actually be? I'll be going live around the country to talk with people who've seen the criminal
Kameraya
justice
tutuyor
system
şeyi,
from
silahı.
every perspective.
Aynen.
With more and more people saying they're scared to walk the streets alone at night, could this be exactly the right time for Advance's
Sen
new approach?
Kanalı karar
All that,
takmak istiyorsun.
a mega
Evet.
group of young actors already experiencing the positive side of the new Assets and Wealth Act firsthand. They'll be talking and performing later. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
Ha, benim yandı bir, pardon. Ne oluyor dedim de. Çizgiyi de ayarlamak zorundayım ya.
Ne kadar bekleteceksiniz ya?
In the wake of the government's swift enactment of the Assets and Wealth Act, we're talking about Advance's first week in office and what the new future holds. Joining me are Katie Brightman, a leading economist, and Alan James, author of Alan James is Right, The Free Man's Guide to Waking Up. Alan, the government certainly haven't dragged their heels on delivering some of the legislation they passed. But what does the Wealth Act mean for us?
Nothing, Jeremy. We're still vassal slaves, we're just in prettier cages.
A confident dismissal there. Katie Brightman, do you agree?
I'm afraid I don't, no. I think that Advance have realised that the current economic system of unlimited, unending growth is untenable, so they're changing things up.
There I agree with you. They're moving to the next steps in the grand plan.
Grand plan, Alan.
It's all in my book. Alan James is right, Jeremy. We're to become the great herd, ignorant, sterile, and short-lived. That's what they want.
Or perhaps Advance have just realised that if we carry on the way we are, we will destroy ourselves
Ama
and
hangisi
this
Türkiye'de
planet
çok kararsız
in a
kalıyorum.
mad
Sonra
orgy of
kararsız kalana
consumption,
kadar oyun
if
gidiyor.
you'll excuse the colourful metaphor.
Yes, orgy is the right word. Only it'll be the overlords having an orgy on our poor broken backs. It's all in my book. Alan James is...
Shamelessly self-promoting. Katie, how do you think the rest of the world will respond to this new approach?
I think they're watching carefully. Advance are the most disruptive threat that world powers have faced since the last Great War.
Yes, Katie's right. War is inevitable.
Thank you, but that isn't
And
what
this
I-
will not be a war like we've ever seen before. We're talking millions of deaths. We're talking high-tech weapons that can level entire cities. We're talking...
Out of the wrong orifices?
What can you like, Jeremy? But when they murder your parents and they poison your food and they take you away to
Hadi
their
olay
camps for
çıksın.
hypno-brainwashing, we'll be laughing then.
Ha.
That might be a
Şey mi?
great way to sell books, Alan, but you know full
Stüdyo-
well this
stüdyoda
isn't
olay.
going to happen.
Ha, söyle.
Sağdaki canlı yayın, soldaki şu an ekranda gözüken mi?
Evet, sağdaki o an televizyonlarda yaşanan, soldaki daha erken geliyor
Evet,
bize
evet.
biz ayarlayabilmemiz
Evet,
için.
o canlı feed değil mi?
Evet.
Democracy is dead.
Yes, Advance are radical, and change is always frightening, but the truth is that the Wealth and Assets Act has made more than 90% of the population wealthier and is on target to produce a permanent end to poverty.
Şu an
Bollocks!
şey izliyorum, çok ilgimi
What this
çekti,
young
güzel
lady
oyun.
doesn't understand, Jeremy, is that these are the same people.
Sansür falan da yapma abi, adam bayağı küfrediyor yayında.
To keep us from seeing the tyrant behind the curtain.
That's where you're wrong, Alan. For a start, they've mobilised the youth vote like we've never seen before.
You say mobilize, I call it grooming. The grooming of an entire generation to walk happily into eternal bondage. They're like psychic paedophiles.
But based on the facts, Katie, what are your predictions?
The Assets and Wealth Act is only the first step. Advance now have a historic budgetary surplus,
adamın
and as well as
yaptığı
properly
işareti
funding our
görmedim
public
ya, bu ne
services,
böyle?
they're already
Lan
they're
manyak
already funneling
Abi adam yok
unprecedented
yani.
amounts into scientific research and the arts.
Or, as
Böyle
I
bir
call
bar
them
ne?
in my book,
Adam yine kitap
Frankenstein's
reklamı yapıyor, senin
and
kitabına
opiates.
başlayacağım şimdi. Tövbe tövbe.
Like opiates, see?
Can we get back to the issue at hand, please, Alan?
This is the issue. It's all coming from the water, the chemicals, they're pumping it full of belief juice.
Don't get me wrong, I want to see these changes, but only if they're sustainable. If Advance lose
İzmir
their
depremde
power
de bir tane
after
uzman
spending
çıkmıştı,
half
böyle
of
şey
our
demişti.
GDP on
Kitabımı okursanız depremlerde ölmezsiniz falan demişti.
Aynen, kitap koruyor depremden.
that could be catastrophic.
The catastrophe is that they're succeeding. They've got us sat here talking about their puppet show.
All right, we're running out of time. Quickly, Alan, what does the future look like to you?
A bleak space where we've all been figuratively sodomized into submission.
Oh, of course. Katie?
We might be on the eve of a brave new world. God knows we need some change, but we need to be cautious. Let's walk forwards with our eyes open.
Two very different visions of the future there. Alan James, Katie Brightman, thank you for joining me. When we come back, I'll be investigating law and order before Megan meets some beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act. That's all coming up tonight on the National Nightly News.
1 minute back.
You know, I think there might
Şu
be
reklamı
some
çok merak ediyorum. Heh.
How's it going? Actually, fuck it, I don't care. I hate the fucking news. Oh, bloody hell, I love this tune, though. All right, mate, see you later. Bye.
Well, I don't know what she meant by that.
Peki oha o neydi lan?
Neydi? Ne oldu?
Oğlum şu oyuncaktan korktum.
Ha.
Oyuncak reklamında oha o neydi? Korktum amk.
Just saying,
Bitti mi şimdi?
she's good. That's all I can do.
10 seconds, everybody. Little Jakey's going to the big bad concert with water.
If that sticks, I'll just...
5, 4,
3.
Welcome back. In
Tamam.
our second segment, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the state of law and order in our country. Advance have already tasked with their
Lan ne oluyor?
solutions team to move this serious social problem to the top of the list. Tonight, we go behind the headlines to meet the people who live with the criminal justice system every day of their lives. First up, we have Gregory Judge, a lawyer who sees the problems close up on the front line. Can you hear me, Gregory?
Yes, I've got you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
What's it like on the front line of the hard face of the cold hand of justice?
Well, as you can imagine, Jeremy, we are massively understaffed in this country.
Adam çok yavşak yavşak konuşuyor. Ben bu adama uyuz oldum. Bu adamda bir şey var.
Which must affect the quality of support you can offer.
Tam yayında oynamak koyun bu arada.
Jeremy, there just simply isn't enough being done at a systemic level to relieve the problem. We need more support from ministers. We need change at a structural
Göstermemek
level,
için
Jeremy.
yapmıştım.
Not a good time, darling.
It never is it? I'll be at my mother's.
Just hang on. The problem isn't a local one, Jeremy. It's nationwide. Just give me 5 minutes. I'm talking to Jeremy Thomas.
Oh, have you mentioned your affairs?
No. Well, the affairs of the Justice Department that we should be concerned about.
Takip et yayında.
Benim yandağım çok fazla ayarla uğraşıyorum ha.
We need legislation to relieve the pressure on our public
Sorry
servants.
to interrupt the news, Mr. Donaldson. Can I have a moment to tell my husband I'm leaving?
Yes, totally understand. Quite the picture of a burdened legal sector there. Gregory Judge, thank you for joining us.
Bak soldaki live feed,
Next time, John,
sağda da yayına giren.
Chief
Evet.
Constable Bob, a man with a very different perspective on our nation's crime. Do you think there's a problem with the system, Bob?
I'm sure we all do, Jeremy. I'm sure we all long for a return to the days when you could safely walk the streets of your community at night, looking in through windows and generally enjoying your neighbours without the risk of being terrorised by some thug with a knife.
Elim ayağım birbirine giriyor. Bu ne ya?
So you feel the streets simply aren't safe anymore? Where have we gone wrong, Bob?
Well, that's not a simple question, Jeremy, but I think it all comes down to moral decay. We've diluted our culture and lost touch with what it means to be a citizen of this once great country. Also, as the vicar noted in Sunday's sermon, we probably shouldn't have banned hanging.
And to what do you attribute this moral decay?
Foreigners, gays and gypsies mainly. It's all in the Bible. Look, Leviticus clearly states that... Oh, bugger, hang on a moment. Jeremy, you bloody gimps escaped.
What the fuck?
Delia, could you give me a little help, please, dear? As I
O
was
ne
saying,
lan?
Jesus didn't like immigrants much.
Ne oldu ya?
And just to be
Arkasına
clear,
bak.
it's the immigrants who are responsible for the moral decay.
Absolutely, Jeremy. Back in your box, Clive.
You don't know
Back
the
in your
moral.
box. Delia, I really could use a little help with this.
I'm sorry, darling. I was spaying the badgers.
Yes, I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson. Clive, could you put it back?
Abi ne oluyor?
Back in your hip space.
And whose responsibility is it to make a change, Bob?
Well, it is certainly not the responsibility of the decent, good, white people of this... Oh, hold on just a moment.
Aa,
Clive, I am not having this again.
Canı
As
kaçtı.
I was saying, Jeremy, moral decay. Crime is the responsibility of the criminal, no one else. Look, everyone has a sob story, but we don't all end up as barbarians.
Bu ne
do we?
abi? Adam
Look, when our
kendilerine
daughter
porno
Alice
filmi
comes home with an A-, does she go on a killing spree? No, she takes 3 of her pills and hides under the stairs like a normal child.
Sokakta yatmasını mı tercih ederdin?
Bob Pillbear.
Efendim?
Sokakta yatmasını mı tercih ederdin?
Yani
Oğlum adam çalışıyor, para kazanıyor.
bir
işte, ne yapacak?
broadcast'te yani bu belli bir canlı yayında bunu yapmasını istemezdim şahsen.
Walking down the police
Tamam ama bu intentional bir şey mi? Böylesini
And finally tonight,
Yani.
hopefully uninterrupted, it's time to get to the heart of the matter. Tony Dawson has recently been released from prison after serving 3 years for aggravated assault, burglary, and menacing a squad. He's agreed to talk to us today, which is also, I believe, his birthday. Many happy returns, Tony. Many happy
Cheers, Jez. Call me Titwank Tony. Everybody else does.
No, I'm not going to be doing that.
Aa sansürlemeyi
Maybe
unuttum.
tell us what it's like in prison, Tony.
Titwank Tony. Titwank. Prison's a mixed bag. Structure's quite nice, but it's a constant battle against institutionalization, as you can imagine.
Abi çok garip bir
And
şey.
obviously,
Adam my name is
Titwank's
Titwank
quite
Tommy
hard
dedi.
to come by.
Harbiden.
I'm picking up that you're not alone there, Tony.
Titwank Tony. Yeah, sorry, my friends are throwing me a surprise party. Good bunch of lads.
Okay, well, we're trying to get back to that party as soon as possible. First, let me ask you this. Do you feel that your time spent in prison helped to rehabilitate you in any way, Tony?
Titwank Tony. I don't think it's as easy as that, Jez. I think asking that is an oversimplification.
It sounds like it's getting quite busy there, Tony, but let's try and soldier on. Since leaving custody, have you been able to find a new job?
Yeah, all the boys are here. Big Chris, Little Chris, and Vampire Chris.
Şuraya geç, buraya geç.
One sec, love.
Yok yok insanlar izlesin.
Rehabilitation's difficult with the current system, Jez. It's just not set up for it, you know?
Aa sansür yapmayınca. Aa çok mantıklı. Sansür yapmayınca şey olmuyor. İzleyici azalmıyor. Sadece şey olması gerekenin karşısına geçmiş oluyorsun. Yine o fotoğraf sesinde olduğu gibi.
It seems like we've caught you at a bad time.
Ama o bu arada.
I can't really hear you, mate. It's getting a bit busy here.
Yes, we seem to be losing the signal here, Tony.
Wait, las bolitas!
Well, we're just trying to get that signal back.
Sen normal insan canlı yayına katılmıyor mu?
Yes,
Yani.
Tony, I mean, you were literally away for 2 seconds. How is this happening?
Şöyle geç. Farkı var.
Well, we seem to have lost our hopefully you, the viewer at home, have managed to glean a broader understanding
Abi orada ne oluyor ya?
complex issues around
Bahset.
O adama ne yapacaklar acaba o kızlar ortada?
Megan will be live with some
Kiş.
Ya abi sansürleyemeyeceğim bak. Sansürleyemeyeceğim. Yapma şunu.
Abi bir dakika videoda mısın?
Evet.
Aaa.
Gerizekalı. Abi bir dakika ben reklama geçmeyi unuttum.
I can have you
Sana şey
fired.
yapacağım.
You'd miss my charm.
Aldım abi şuna bakar mısın ya? Bu reklam ne lan? Niye yani şeyin neydi onun ismi?
Tamam bekle. Sen bana 5 dakika var, ben seni izleyeyim.
Niye Ege'nin düzgün bir şekilde izlediğini sanıyorsun?
Ben düzgün şekilde izliyorum.
Yani çünkü videoda.
Ben Ege genuine bir şekilde...
Bruh.
Yemek ediyorum da o ayrı konu.
Ha.
Come on, it's welcome back. How can it be? This is on you. 10 seconds, everybody. We're gonna open on Megan. Camera 2. Going in 5, 4.
Türkçe'de karışık İngilizceden nefret ediyorum ama bir kere ağzına yapışınca şansım kalmıyor
Welcome
kullanmalık.
back. I'm Megan Wolf, and on tonight's Culture Spot, I'll be chatting with one of the first beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act, a team of inspiring young people from Switchford Sixth Form College, who today received a grant from Advance to take their play, Hey, Friendship, on a tour of local secondary schools. Welcome to you all. Well, let's start with you two, Harriet
Biraz da
and
ASMR
Charlotte
yapıyor olabilirim ama.
Stanley Dash Hamilton. Girls, you must be thrilled. We are, Megan. We're overwhelmed, to be honest. And I believe Charlotte's my oldest.
I'm the older, more popular one. I'm joking.
Harriet and Trey were really the ones who came up with the whole idea.
So, Harry and I were shooting the breeze in the cafeteria, and I said, hey,
Bu gay gibi duruyor.
So I went
Öyle
in for
zaten
a
büyük
drama
ihtimalle.
But she'd been laid off due to budget cuts. Fortunately, I directed a pantomime when I was at university, so I knew the ropes as it were.
Oh, right, yes, but you're the maths teacher, aren't you?
Yes, that's me, Jeff Algebra, maths teacher. Maths is really important. Oh, thanks, Steve. Maths is really important. Yeah, thanks, Steve.
As is theatre. It's one of the oldest art forms in history. Aristotle
I
believed.
just think that when we travel around all these problem schools and the poor kids see us, they say, hey, I really want to be like those attractive kids. And that's a very beautiful and powerful thing.
Zaten bir yerde görmüşüm gibi gelen tek kişi ben miyim?
Bana da çok tanıdık geliyor.
Right back.
I suppose with a surname like
Bilmiyorum,
Algebra,
belki
there was really
sandıktır.
only one choice of career for me. My wife, Angela.
Aklıma bir yeri geliyor da acaba gerçekten oradan mı?
Yok be.
we just want to bring a bit
Ne
of
düşündüğümü
so
bilmiyorum.
much
Tabii
joy
yok.
into people's lives.
Büyük ihtimal şey ya, şu eski Disney dizilerinden büyük ihtimalle.
Olabilir.
Ve ben öyle hissettim.
Bana başka şeyler geldi yani.
He he.
Bu aklına gelmişti değil mi?
Evet.
Her character doesn't actually have a name.
Ee,
Yeah, because in a way she's like.
Greta Thunberg değil mi o ortadaki ya?
Aa, Gaz sanırım. Matematik öğretmeni olduğunu söyledi.
Or like, maybe she's you, Megan.
That's really important. Yeah, thanks, Steve. Put it in, coach. Yes, thanks, Steve.
Right, well, I'm
Beynini yıkamışlar herhalde en sağdakinin. Matt is really important diye konuşmaya devam ediyor.
Couch bu arada.
Ne oluyor lan?
So, Jeff, when did you first hear about the grant?
2 days ago, a letter from Advance arrived at the school. Now, the headmaster thought it was all a prank, but his secretary retrieved it from his bin and brought it to me.
How? How did you react?
I also threw it in the bin. But then,
Birden ne oluyor?
Trey rescued it, and
Abi onlar tamamen kamera arkası şeyi.
next thing you know,
24'ü izliyorum ben şu an.
Wow.
Ben de.
You can all guess which way you'll be voting from now on.
do you know what? It's funny because
Abi.
Aydın and I don't usually vote. We were not very political. I'm a mathematician, of course. She's a paraplegic, maybe. But we did use
Burayı keserim de abi arkadaşım mesajını gördünüz mü?
Hayır.
Ay sikeyim ya bu ne amık.
Archernut geldi.
Videodayız bu arada.
Archernut sen benim gibi olma şu anda video.
Buraları kesiyorum keselim sakince.
Mikrofon
Ay.
Bir dakika şu anda videoda mıyız?
Evet hala videodayız ama burayı keserim yani.
Kesermiş tamam.
Bra.
Bir
Ben
dakika,
sevdim bu
videonun
oyunu.
her dakikasında konuşursak tüm videoyu silmek zorunda kalır.
Hayır. Sansürlerim.
Yok bizim konuştuğumuz yerleri kes.
Değil mi o? Tüm videoyu sansürlersen kendin konuşamazsın.
Reis. Her şeyi
Sakince
sansürlemeyeceğim
Atilla'yı
zaten.
sustur.
Abi sakince. Zaten ikisi küfür etmedi ki sürekli. Sakince yorum yaptılar oyunu.
Anlıyorum.
Sakince Atilla'yı susturur abi.
Yani sen orada ne oluyor diye sordun.
Yani ben de sakince Atilla'yı susturuyorum ve videoya devam ediyorum. Çünkü Atilla'ya güvenmiyorum şu an.
Valla ben Atilla'dan daha güvenilmez gibi geliyor.
Yo ben sana güveniyorum. O kısımda sıkıntı yok. Şimdi inşallah bu yerleri tam olarak kesebilirim. Devam.
Valla benim en büyük tehlikem şarkı söylemek.
Bence seyirciler duymak ister. Ya da vazgeçtim.
Ege'nin çok güzel bir fikri vardı.
Hayır.
Dear Diary, I'm not sure I can take another day at this school. Another day of tears.
Direkt sen hala oynuyor musun?
Another day of
Evet.
fears.
Bra.
But still I walk the
Ben de.
corridors alone. Dreading what might be around every corner.
İstiyorsan gel.
What's around the corner?
Beğendin oyunu galiba.
What's around the corner? What's around the corner?
Bu ne abi? Ne oluyor burada şu an?
Oh, hi Gary.
Oh heavens no! It's Gary the Fist!
Gary the Fist!
going somewhere, little first year.
Great. I've been looking for some poor victim to bully all morning. But will this make me feel better about my violent father?
Excuse me, I'm late for maths. It's my favourite subject.
Kim çıktı? Kim geri geldi?
So
What? Maths is for losers. My arm's stuck. Just keep going for fuck's sake. Right.
Aksana bakar mısın ya?
Çok güzel söylüyor bu arada.
Double lunch for me today, but why I'm only truly happy when I'm eating.
not today, Gary. Fist.
What do you mean not today? Who are you?
What you mean today?
My arm's pretty cold. Brilliant, keep going. Right, who are you to stand up to me? I, Gary the Fist, and you're just a sad little girl with two gay dads, who's all alone.
Onun iliklerine kadar bre iş akıyor bu arada.
These are my two new friends. Vanessa is captain of the netball team. Yeah. And Blake owns a motorbike.
Yeah.
But I can't fight all three of you, and I don't have any friends of my own.
Umarım telif yemem. Benim mikrofonum açık mı şu an? Tamam. Hatta. Şuna bak.
Video güzel olsun ya, yapsın.
Yani.
Ama bir şey söyleyeyim, bu işe ne kadar devam ve kaliteye de bağlı.
Bir dakika, bir anda rap'e döndü bunlar.
Olur, niye olmasın? Niye dönmesin?
Abi,
Pekala.
sıradan bir müzik halden cezaya dönüş biraz hızlı oldu.
Alır.
Matematik şarkısı mı dinliyoruz biz?
Evet.
Pekala.
Matematiği hala seviyorum. Evet, işte bu.
Hey, kids, I'm Gary the Fist. People think that folks like me probably shouldn't exist, but that's just
Bir de sözler uyumlu olsa.
do better if you knew the way that I became Gary the Fist.
Yerde fist olur.
I grew up on a council estate. The park was
Hep
hip,
üstüne
but the
koyuyorlar.
flats weren't great. My dad used to come home drunk and late, and he'd hit my mum for dinner.
Efendim?
He had to wait. Where's my dinner?
It's not ready.
Where's my dinner?
Diyor. Sırf böyle dersi eğlenceli kılmak için elinden gelen en iyisini yapan öğretmenim.
Hitting women is wrong.
I guess life's pretty hard on a council estate. Life's pretty hard.
Yapamadın abi. Geç bas.
Life's pretty hard on a council estate. Life's pretty hard on a council estate. Life's pretty hard on a council estate. Life's pretty hard.
Bu ne lan böyle?
Pretty hard on the council stage.
Bir dakika, yanlış oldu.
Tüm komboya sıçtım şu an. 30 zamanı.
Hadi be.
Tamam,
Friendship.
yeterli.
Well, thankfully that's
Çok kötüydü.
Last word.
on the National Nightly News. Join us tomorrow night.
Gördüğüm en haklı kısmet olabilirdi bu arada.
My name's Jeremy Dawson. Have a peaceful night.
And we're out.
Bu neydi?
What the literal fuck was that?
I believe that was
Anladın ya.
I believe I've got a 14
Yok, reklam değil.
make it so.
Sağdaki reklam.
Amaç oyunculuk.
Ya
Abone ol,
sus.
like at.
Abone olun, like atın. Bitti mi?
Bitti.
Tamam. Videoda bitti abi.